Don't forget to go to asskicking.com for pound the best home health and beauty fragrance products.
Hi, I'm Bobby Dean, and you're watching Dante's
Boxing Nation.
Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So after Mikey Garcia came off of his big win over Sergey Lipinets, he just recently said something that was pretty interesting, to say the least, I guess. He basically said that he's not interested in fighting Terence Crawford. He said he does want to fight Errol Spence, and he explains why. Mikey Garcia, who was actually beat in the amateurs, I believe they fought twice. I know they fought once for sure, but Terence Crawford beat him in the amateurs. He said he doesn't really have an interest in facing Terence Crawford. He said because all Terence Crawford is going to do is run and move around the ring. It'll be a boring fight. He won't come to fight. He said Errol Spence will come to fight. There's a lot of things to say and there's a lot of questions to ask when it comes to Mikey Garcia saying this about Terence Crawford. The first thing I want to say, because there's a whole lot of stuff to say when it comes to this situation, but the first thing that comes to mind is, I'm asking myself, isn't Mikey Garcia a well-rounded fighter? Isn't Mikey Garcia the type of fighter that can do it all? At least this is what I was thinking. Isn't Mikey Garcia the type of fighter who can figure out any type of style and beat a person at their own game? Because guys, you guys have to understand, this is what separates a good fighter from a special fighter. Floyd Mayweather famously said, you box the banger and you bang the boxer. It doesn't matter if you move away from Floyd Mayweather, if you come towards Floyd Mayweather. Floyd is going to find a way to beat you at your own game. That's what he did with Sharmba Mitchell. That's what he did with Zab Judah and many other fighters. This is what separates a good fighter from a great special fighter. Something else that needs to be noted as well, Adrien Broner, he had a style where sometimes he moves around the ring, sometimes he stands in front of his opponents. We've seen him implement both type styles. And Mikey Garcia, he fought that guy. Obviously, right? Another rhetorical question. When's the last time Terence Crawford was in a dull, boring fight? When was he in a dull, boring fight? Even when Terence Crawford boxed Victor Postal, there was times in that fight where Terence Crawford came forward toe-to-toe and challenged Victor Postal to a toe-to-toe battle, and it was actually Victor Postal who backed up and started moving away from Terence Crawford. To go even further, Mikey Garcia himself, he has showed great foot movement in the ring. He's moved around the ring and showed great foot movement. I would never call it running. Mikey Garcia is known for using great foot movement in the ring, especially when he fought against Orlando Salido. And that was an exciting fight. I would never call that a dull fight just because Mikey Garcia, he used his footwork in the ring and he took advantage of his height and his reach. Something else that he said is a reason why he doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford. He said because Crawford will go in there and just try to use his reach, his height. He'll make it a boring fight and it'll just be a dull fight. This is what Mikey Garcia said to Yahoo Sports. Now, once again, I think it's really, really important to reiterate this point. When you are a boxer, you cannot ask your opponent to conform to your style. You can't say, I will only fight you if you put the target right in my face without moving it. If I can't hit you, if you're not going to stick your head out and let me hit you, I don't want to play with you. I don't want to play. I'm not fighting you if you don't make it easy. If you don't put your hands down, there's no fight. There's no fight. Mikey Garcia, he knows better than that. Mikey Garcia is a very intelligent boxer. So Mikey Garcia, he understands that styles make fights, and when there are certain fighters that come in the ring, like an Orlando Salido, it makes sense to go in there and box. But the funny thing comes to Terence Crawford, we already know that if Terence Crawford fights a Mikey Garcia, Terence Crawford will most likely be the aggressor, if not all the time, at least half of the fight he will be the aggressor. Now Mikey Garcia will be the aggressor in the fight too, but my point is it will be give and take. There'll be times in a fight like that, there'll be times where Mikey Garcia will be moving away from Terence Crawford. There'll be times where Crawford will be moving away from Mikey Garcia. This is the reason why boxing matches are in a boxing ring, to give you many different options on how you attack. In football, you have many different options of how to get the ball to the goal line, right? How to get the ball in the end zone. You could either have somebody run the ball, or you could have a receiver run deep and throw him the ball. To be great, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to deal with adversity in this sport, in any sport. Now, the last thing I want to close out with is what Mikey Garcia said about Errol Spence when he tried to draw a distinction between the two. Now, with Mikey saying he would rather fight Errol Spence, the thing is, Mikey Garcia, which I give him credit for calling out Errol Spence because no one at the welterweight division wants to fight Errol Spence. But the fact is, Mikey is not planning on fighting Mikey Garcia. Mikey is not planning on fighting Errol Spence, excuse me. He's not planning on fighting Errol Spence anytime soon. What he wants to do is he wants to fight a couple more fights at 140, maybe have a fight at 147, then fight Errol Spence if he does end up even really challenging Errol Spence. So my question is, if Terence Crawford is available now, just like Sergey Lipinets was available, just like Linares was available until he signed to fight Lomachenko, right? Just like all of these previous opponents that Mikey Garcia has faced, just like they were available, guess what? Terence Crawford is available sooner rather than later. Something else I just thought about, Mikey Garcia, he said one of the reasons he doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford is because he's going to use his reach and his height. Something else that really needs to be noted, Mikey Garcia told me in an interview I did with him that he believed that Robert Easter would possibly be the most difficult champion to beat at 135. Why? Because of his height and his reach. This is what Mikey Garcia said to me. Now, more recently, Mikey Garcia, he said, I believe it was right before the Lipinets fight, he told me that he no longer believes Robert Easter is the most toughest to beat because of Robert Easter's last performance against Fortuna. If that is the case, that is more of a reason for Mikey Garcia to take that man's O. It would be a good look for Mikey Garcia to be the first man to put a blemish on Robert Easter's record, right? So if Robert knows that now, if he knows that Robert is easier to beat now, there's no doubt about it that Mikey Garcia, he knew that Sergey Lipinets was going to be a win for him. In fact, every fight Mikey Garcia goes into, I'm sure he believes he's going to win the fight. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to do a separate video on what Terence Crawford had to say in response to what Mikey Garcia said. I just want to give you guys my personal thoughts on what Terence Crawford said about Mikey Garcia when he heard that Mikey said this. You know, fighters have to really be careful when they put certain fighters' names in their mouth, especially when they're saying something negative, because a lot of times that will backfire and that will end up putting a lot of pressure on you to possibly get in the ring with that guy, because now there's more buzz about a Mikey Garcia versus Terence Crawford fight. And if you think about it, this is unfinished business for Mikey Garcia because Terence Crawford has already beat. And if you think about it, this is unfinished business for Mikey Garcia because Crawford already has beaten Mikey Garcia. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in the future. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. What's going on, y'all? Brooklyn, New York. It's going down. We out here for the Wilder versus Ortiz fight. It should be a great fight. Once again, I'm loving it out here in Brooklyn, New York, from Las Vegas, Long Beach to Brooklyn. This is how we do it. On to the next one, y'all.